Well, hello everyone. My name's Melanie. Welcome to the Centermoreland United Methodist Church virtual VBS. Today is Monday, and wow, we got a lot of exciting things for you today. We're going to read a story. It involves learning about ravens and a prophet named Elijah and some really brave things he was asked to do by God. And for your craft, you're going to get to make your very own bird. It could be a raven, could be a bird you made up, could be a robin. You get to decide. But before we get all of that, we're going to head over to Mark at the Knowlton Farm.
Hi everyone, hope everyone's doing well today. So today's topic, I'd like to give everyone a little bit of a sneak peek at my album that I've created called God's Creatures. So here's a few of the photos of what you're likely to see in it. So you can tell what these are: the bald eagle, then some birds, the bear and coyote. So so here's basically what we'll do is we'll look at farm animals, some wild animals, some other things, and then some animal songs, which that's probably not going to happen, but that's kind of the big picture of what I had in mind. So here we go with farm animals. So first of all, cattle. So there's a few different Bible verses on cattle. There's Deuteronomy chapter 11, 14 through 16. Then I will send rain out on your land in its season, both autumn and spring rain, so that you may gather in your grain, new wine and olive oil. I will provide grass in the fields for your cattle, and you will eat and be satisfied. Be careful, or you will be enticed to turn away and worship other gods and bow down to them. So here's some cattle, some red Angus cattle, baby calf and the mother out in the grass in the cow pasture. So here's, I won't get into this. This was another lecture here. I won't get into too much, but golden calf. So Exodus 32 is the golden calf. So there's a lot of reading there for those that want to read into it sometime. And I've read that for a different lecture a little bit further. So here's more of it here. I think this is more the part I read with Moses and with Joshua hearing the noise of the people. He said, there is the sound of war in the camp. And then Moses approached the camp and saw the calf and the dancing. His anger burned, and he threw the tablets out out of his hands. So we can read into that in full sometime. So here's a few calf photos. Here's a little Charolais calf and a white face Hereford calf. They're kind of crossbreed, some of them, but so there they are. And then so we moving right along to pigs. So here's Proverbs. I'm just going to kind of skim through this fast here. Proverbs 11, chapter 11, verses 21 through 23. Be sure of this: the wicked will not go unpunished, but those who are righteous will go free. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman who shows no discretion. The desire of the righteousness ends only in good, but the hope of the wicked is only in wrath. Then there's some in Matthew chapter 7, verses 5 through 7. You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you'll see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Do not give pigs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. They may trample them under your feet and turn and tear you to pieces. Ask, seek, knock. Ask, and it will be given unto you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and the door will be open unto you. Then Matthew chapter 8, verses 31 through 33. The demons begged Jesus, "If you drive us out, send us into the herd of pigs." He said to them, "Go." So they came out and went into the pigs, and the whole herd rushed out the steep bank into the lake and died in the water. Those tending the pigs ran off, went into the town, and reported all this, including what had happened to the demon-possessed men. And then Deuteronomy 14:7 through 9. However, of those that chew the cud or that have a divided hoof, you may not eat the camel, the rabbit, or the hyrax. Although they chew the cud, they do not have a divided hoof. They are ceremonially unclean for you. The pig is also unclean. Although it has a divided hoof, it does not chew the cud. You are not to eat the meat or touch your carcasses. Of all the creatures living in the water, you may eat any that has fins and scales. So here's some pigs. These are Yorkshire pigs. We had a group of 4 of them a few years ago. So there's a few photos when they were small. And lambs and sheep. So here's Genesis chapter 27, 21, 27 through 31. So Abraham brought sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the 2 men made a treaty. Abraham set apart 7 ewe lambs from the flock, and Abimelech asked Abraham, "What is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs you have set us apart by themselves?" He replied, "Accept these 7 lambs from my hand as a witness that I dug as well." So that place was called Beersheba, because the 2 men swore an oath there. Then Exodus 22, 1 through 3, protection of property. Whoever steals an ox or a sheep and slaughters it and sells it must pay back 5 head of cattle for the ox and 4 sheep for the sheep. If a thief is caught breaking in at night and is struck a fatal blow, the defender is not guilty of bloodshed. But if it happens after sunrise, the defender is guilty of bloodshed. Anyone who steals must certainly make restitution, but if they have nothing, they must be sold to pay for their theft. In Genesis 20:13 through 15, as when God had me wander from my father's household, I said to her, "This is how you can show your love to me. Everywhere we go, say of me, he is my brother." Then Abimelech brought sheep and cattle and male and female slaves and gave them to Abraham, and he returned Sarah, his wife, to him. And Abimelech said, "My land is before you, like wherever you like." So here's a photo we saw nearby of the baby lamb there. Actually, one hiding right behind the big one here. So there's actually 3 with one kind of hidden. And so that's it as far as the farm animals. So we'll do the wild animals next.
Hello again. The key verse of this week's VBS comes from Job 12, chapter 7, and it says, "Ask the animals and they will teach you." And we're going to go throughout all the Bible stories this week, and it's not even all the Bible stories we could have chose from. We're going to look from the parts of the Bible that mention animals in a way that can help us teach more about our real life. Today's Bible story is called Elijah and the Ravens, and it comes from 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 29 through chapter 17 through 5. You can have a grown-up in your house read this story to you. It was in your packet, or if you know how to read, you can read it to yourself. Or I also put with the description down below a link to an animated version of someone else telling this story. But the story of Elijah and the Ravens is really basically a story of trust. one of the things the Bible asks us to do is to trust God that no matter how bad things are, He will be there to take care of us, even when things are hard and tough, which is kind of like how things are now. So God asked Elijah to stand up to a bully who was in charge of his country and was doing things that God didn't like. And Elijah did this thing that God asked him to do, and then this king and all of his followers wanted to kill Elijah because of this. And so he ended up running away into the desert, which they called the wilderness. And in this desert, there was no food and there was no water, and Elijah was really concerned he was going to die. And at one point, he just sat down and decided he was going to give up. He did the thing God asked him to do, and that was it. But God didn't end the story there. He didn't just let Elijah die in the wilderness. He used ravens to come take care of him, and they would bring him food every day and help him find water so that he could survive in the wilderness. And if you keep reading past chapter 17, verse 5, you'll see that eventually God arranges for Elijah to meet up with a widow who would let him live with her until the hard times were over. And what we can learn about this Bible story that connects to our own lives is that maybe God is asking us to do something difficult, or maybe we're being asked to experience something difficult, even if we don't think God is the person asking us to do that. But we can trust that if we pray and we have faith, that God will help us pull through it, maybe in a miraculous way, like with ravens, or maybe in a more ordinary way that you don't even recognize. So if you're feeling, concerned about something that your family needs and doesn't have, you need to start praying to God that He will help your family find a way through that situation, because God does provide for us. And now we're going to head on over to craft time with Rebecca.
After your glue is dried, you're going to fold this flap back and attach it to the inside of the pink, or whatever color yours is. And then it should fold over to form a puppet. So let that glue dry. Once the center glue has dried, then you can glue in your feather and attach your eyes. Then you have your very own bird puppet.
Thank you, Rebecca. That is so adorable. I'm going to leave you all today with a special challenge. So today's Bible story was about how we want to trust God to provide for us, and I wanted to give you all the opportunity to be part of how God provides for other people. So your special challenge is to, you need a grown-up's permission to do this, but to go through your kitchen cupboards and to find one article of food that's non-perishable. It could be a can, it could be like a box of macaroni that you can donate to the food pantry, because that's one way that God's people are able to help to provide for others in need. And then your grown-up who's helping you can drop that off at the church if you're willing to do that. Or you can brainstorm with your grown-up. If that doesn't feel like the right thing to do, see if you can, together as a family today, find one way that you can help somebody else out and be part of God's love as it spreads through the world. I hope you all have a great Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow.